Bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Buddhaṃ Dhammaṃ Sanghaṃ namasami. Blessings and happy Qingming. Why can I say happy Qingming? I say happy Qingming because you are here making merit, doing something good. And that's a cause for happiness to arise in your heart. Even if you have closely departed relatives or recently departed relatives which have brought you some sadness, what's the best response to sadness and loss? Make more good karma, I would say. Not to let the loss and the sadness overwhelm your mind, but to turn it around as a cause for you to do more good in your life. And in Buddhism we talk about when we make merit, there's many ways to make merit. We can make merit with any individual, person, or even animal in this world. Helping, giving material help is probably the most common kind of merit making. So making offerings, sharing food, sharing donations. But we also make merit by keeping precepts and providing safety and good atmosphere for other people, because we are undertaking not to harm others through our speech, our action. And the more refined kind of merit making is bhavana. You're training your heart to actually abandon the causes for suffering, greed, anger, delusion. But in the hierarchy of merit, the Buddha always reminded us that making merit with Sangha, ordained Sangha, that may contain noble ones or potential noble ones, is the highest kind of merit of all, because that's the purpose of human existence, is to realize Nibbana. So Sangha members who go forth, dedicate their life to the practice for that end, that's, there's not really a higher purpose in the world, is there? Most people think the greatest thing in the world is get education, go to a university, a good university, get a good job, make lots of money, build yourself up, your family, and so on. And of course, that's all is good on a certain level, but it's still bound up with suffering, samsara, whereas Nibbana is not. So it has to be the highest aim for human beings. So making merit with Sangha is a very special kind of merit, especially, say, a country like Malaysia. There's not that many Sangha members around. Luckily, Buddhism is expanding and becoming more established again, so there are more and more temples, monasteries, Sangha members, but still fairly few. So to make merit with Sangha is not always easy, but it's a very important part of our life. Because when you come to meet with Sangha, you're meeting with people who keep a very high standard of sila. They're peaceful, non-aggressive, not exploiting you, not harming you. So the Sangha represents so many good qualities. The robe that the Sangha wears comes from the Buddha. It's directly from the Buddha, the design of it, the style, and it's considered to be almost like a chedi. Nowadays everyone's building chedis to house Buddha relics, which is a fine endeavour. Hopefully those chedis will last for a long time, but you can see with the earthquake in Myanmar, even a chedi can be knocked over by an earthquake. But actually the robe of a monk is also a chedi. You see that robe coming, and for someone with faith, or one who's already got faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, the goal of Nibbana, they see the robe and it kind of brightens your day, doesn't it? Brightens the mind. In the morning, if you have the chance to put rice in Sangha members' bowls, it can make you feel happy for the rest of the day. And it reminds you of the spiritual path, the Dhamma path to the end of suffering. Even the Buddha himself, before he was a Buddha, when he's the Prince Siddhartha, Gautama, what we call a bodhisattva, it was seeing a samana, a shaven-headed person with a robe, that made him think, this is maybe the way out of the suffering of human existence. And he was considering, the purpose of life, what's the meaning of life at that time. He had his first baby, his son, born, he's married, he was wealthy, good family, but he still realized he was bound up with suffering of aging, sickness, death, a mind that doesn't always feel peaceful and happy or fulfilled. He had realized that, so he was looking for something more. And he said, just as there is suffering in life, there must be an end of suffering. Just as there's day, there's night, there's good, there's bad, there's hot, there's cold, there's all these opposites in life. He thought, well, if there's suffering, there must be an end of suffering. Then he saw the monk walking through the town, and the sight of a shaven head and a robe made him think, this is it, this is the way out. So even the Buddha or the Bodhisattva valued seeing a robe and a shaven head, and led him, we call that a Dhammaduta, a messenger from the Dhamma, pointing the way to the Dhamma. Or another occasion that's often quoted, Venerable Mahamoggallana, who had the greatest psychic powers in the time of the Buddha. Mahamoggallana, floating through the hell realms. He was on his business going through the hell realms, where a lot of beings are there and they're suffering all the time. But some of those beings in the hell realms have made good karma before and had faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha before perhaps, but before they can receive the fruits of their faith and good karma, they have to receive the fruits of their bad karma first, so they're being reborn in a hell realm, suffering. But they see Mahamoggallana going by, and one person saw the monk's robe, just the corner of the robe, remembered the colour, the shape, and said, this is a reminder of the Buddha, and his mind popped out of that state of depression, anguish, suffering and despair into a state of brightness, happiness, and that being, upon seeing the robe of the monk, was immediately reborn in a heaven realm. Our mind can be that fast. You can be very depressed, but with the right causes, you hear the Dhamma, or you meet a monk, or you're in some situation where you do something good, and your mind flips from being very unhappy to being peaceful, happy, like when faith arises. So Chengmeng is a good time to consider this, isn't it? And beings die every day, and every day over every year, every century. So human beings have been born and dying for thousands and millions of years. Not all of those beings are reborn as humans. Some are born in other realms. Some go to heaven, some go to hell, some are born as ghosts. We don't necessarily know where our relatives, ancestors have all been reborn. So these rituals, customs have grown up where we honour the dead, make merit for our departed relatives, grandparents, great-grandparents, ancestors. Some we know, some we don't. But there's many ways of making merit, as I was saying. You don't have to necessarily make merit by going to a grave and planting flowers, cleaning the grave. If you want to do that, that can be a good thing as well. It's not a bad thing. But the greatest merit is in terms of material dana, is making merit with the Sangha. It's what we call Sangha dana. Like you're doing this morning, offering robes, requisites, food to the Sangha, is the most powerful kind of merit to make. Even more than that, determining to keep the 5 precepts for a day and a night. It's even more powerful. Because you're already purifying your mind and you're also providing happiness to other beings. If you meet someone who keeps the 5 precepts, how do you feel? You might not even notice, but you'll feel safe. This person is not going to hurt me, stab my back, steal my things, take advantage of me. You may not, think it through, but you probably feel it or sense it, don't you? If a family lives together successfully, it's because they're keeping the 5 precepts, more or less. When things go wrong and we get too caught up into our anguish, we argue, we fight, then of course it's hard to live together. Or if someone is not keeping the precepts in one way, so somebody becomes drunk all the time, that family is in trouble. It's very hard to live with someone who's always drunk. Or someone becomes a thief and they're just untrustworthy with money and you can't leave your things around because they're always stealing them. Makes your family a very unpleasant place to live. Same with the workplace, same with a temple, any place. If people don't keep the precepts, it starts to become difficult. So in the same way, if people do keep the precepts, it becomes pleasant. We can relax, we can feel safe with each other. So it's a great gift to other people when you keep the precepts. And it's a great gift to ourselves because the result of keeping the precepts is your mind is free from regret. You're not suspicious of others or worried about others and what they're going to do to you. You have self-respect because you're not doing things that you feel bad about or look down on. So you feel good about yourself in a positive way. You're not boosting your ego in that sense. You just feel good, you have a sense of well-being. And this also is a basis for training the mind in meditation. The sila is like a strong foundation for training your mind in mindfulness and insight meditation. The Buddha said, really, you can't be successful in meditation if your sila is not matching your meditation. It purifies your practice of meditation. People often forget this. They think, I've got lots of problems in my life, I'll go off on a meditation course and try and solve them. But maybe the root cause of their problems is not so much to do with what they're thinking, their mind state, is more to do with their behavior. If somebody is not keeping the precepts, usually that's the problem in their life. They need to adjust their behavior in some way. When I first started meditating, I have many friends, school friends or university friends who would go and meditate as well. But they didn't understand about precepts. They didn't study much about Buddhism perhaps, didn't read, didn't listen to much. So they would try meditation and say, it makes me feel good. While I'm meditating, I feel more calm. They could see the benefit. But then they'd go away and drink or break precepts in other ways. And they couldn't see the link between the two things, their state of mind, the level of their mind and their precepts. They didn't really understand that. So their meditation never really progressed, I found, at that time. Many of them learn lessons later, hard lessons in life. But if you really want to progress in meditation, which is another form of merit making, you have to also follow the ways of the precepts, ways of morality, learn not to harm yourself or others through your actions. And then you bring a blessing to your life. You're happier, the people around you are happier. And then meditation can grow. And the highest merit of all is through meditation. Like for Chengmeng, you really could go off on a meditation retreat and do even more benefit for your ancestors, if you think about it. in terms of making merit, dedicating merit. If you have right view, right understanding, the best kind of merit is training your mind in calm and insight meditation, what we call samatha and vipassana. Because that's like really cleaning up your mind, really changing it for the better. Because the problem all of us face is we're deluded. We still have a lot of wrong views, misunderstandings about the world, and it comes through our own mind. We haven't trained enough to learn to investigate the way things are. So one way we're deluded and we're caught up in wrong views is, the basic idea that we have this solid self we call me, myself, which it's a convenient convention to use the term me, and you have a name. So me, nowadays they call me Ajahn Kalyano. So it's useful to have that name, so when people come and they say, hey, Ajahn Kalyano, I know they're talking to me. To have a name is fine, but it's just a convention, isn't it? They could call me something else. It could be Ajahn somebody else. People change their names. Sometimes you're born with one name, later you change your name, or you like one name better than another. A name can be changed easily. And actually the nature of the world on the conventional or the superficial level is like that, isn't it? It's very changeable, uncertain. Something like a law of the land, which we might think, the laws of the land are very important, but they can change. The government, the parliament, they can decide to change a law and make something different than before. And then that becomes norm and we say, we have to follow this law, but it can change. Sometimes they change the age for the age for voting sometimes changes, or the age that you can get married, or the age you can drink alcohol or something. That's not set in stone. It depends on the government and the population deciding what they want. It's not fixed, it can change. Conventions are like that. Names, labels, how we describe the world. We come in here, you look at the wall, you can say, that's a lovely blue wall you have. You go, huh? It's not blue. Blue is just a word, isn't it? It's just a label. You could change it. It's like Ajahn Chah used to tell the story of the man. He's a very smart man, but not very rich. So he went to the market and he bought a spittoon. A spittoon, these old tin pots, sometimes ceramic, sometimes tin pot, and brought it home. And in Thailand and probably Malaysia and many countries, these old tin pots, you use them mainly for rubbish, even urinate, you keep it under the bed at night and urinate in it, rubbish, spit in it. If you chew betel nut, you spit in it. It's called a spittoon. So most people develop the idea it's something dirty. And this man bought one, a brand new one, took it home and he cooked his rice in it. And then served his rice from it. And people came around and said, why are you putting rice in a spittoon? Why are you eating rice out of a spittoon? Something's wrong. He said, it's clean, it's okay, it's clean. He understood a spittoon, it's just a vessel, it's just a container. And if it's clean, it's safe. You can do that. But because everyone's stuck in the idea spittoon is something dirty, lowly, shouldn't put food in it, something for urine or spit, rubbish, they all got upset with him. And that's the trouble with conventional reality. You attach to that and then you create a world, your sense of self, who you are and the ideas of the world, you create that. And you attach to that, you get stuck on that. But then of course my idea of the world is not going to be the same as yours, or yours, or yours. And that's where human beings have all this trouble, isn't it? Why we have economic war or actual physical wars. We're fighting over conventions, who owns what, who's right, who's wrong, who believes in this, who believes in that. Maybe one day they'll have a spittoon war. And everyone who thinks a spittoon is okay to put rice in a spittoon will be on this side, and everyone who thinks it's not okay to put rice in a spittoon will be on this side, and they have a war. That's how silly it can be. I used to study history at university, and there's a famous war in the USA, southern USA, not USA, sorry, Southern America, Latin America. Can't remember the countries. It was something like Colombia and El Salvador, some of those countries. They're really crazy over football, but they're also rivals in other ways. And one country beat the other country at soccer, and so they declared war. The ones who lost declared war on the first country. They actually had a physical war, soldiers firing bullets because they lost a soccer match. And you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. You know, it's just a little ball. You kick around the field and somebody wins, somebody loses. That's normal. But they take it so seriously they went to war. Had a big argument, we're going to shoot you. Luckily it didn't last very long. But that's basically what human beings do when they get angry, isn't it? They fight. People fight and argue over silly little things, bigger things, but in the end it's just what we call conventional reality. If you fight over land, the land doesn't know who owns it or who belongs to. It's just land, it's just earth. You fight over oil, or you fight over, sometimes people fight over the ocean, don't they? They say, this is our ocean. No names mentioned, but countries, they say, this is our sea, no, it's our sea. But does the sea know? The sea doesn't know anything, it's just water. And yet we can control it and get upset about it. Or even the monastery, when they first bought the monastery and offered it, they offered the land to become a place for monks to live. Well, that's good. I said, this is a very good thing. And we went around, measured the boundary of the monastery, because it's a very large piece of land. It's 450 acres, a lot of land. And then the question came up, well, we've bought this land, we've offered it to the Sangha. It's now called Buddha Bodhivana Monastery. Good. But within this land, it's a big area, there's many things living here, like wombats. Wombats, they live in holes in the ground. So do the wombats now belong to the monks? Because every night I meet a wombat, I say, you belong to me. Or you could look at it another way and say, oh, now we're responsible for the wombats because they're within the monastery. So maybe that's a better way. Either way, now you've got a relationship because this land is called monastery land. There's wombats there, so you've got to do something with them. You've got to be friends with them, look after them, be at peace with them. But this is all the superficial reality of the world. We label things, we take possession of things, and not just physical things, even ideas, isn't it? Ideas, I'm right, you're wrong. This is the right way to do something, that's the wrong way to do something. Again, it can be convenient to make rules, agreements about the way we do things and what's right, what's true, what's false. But there's a lot of room for change, for misunderstanding, disagreement, isn't there? As people do. They argue over what they believe in, even religion. People argue over their interpretation of religion. Say like in Buddhism, you get some people who say, I'm Theravada, and some people, I'm Mahayana. Or I like practicing samatha meditation, or I like vipassana. Or I like, we argue over techniques sometimes. I do the Ajahn Chah technique, even though he once told everyone there is no Ajahn Chah technique. We just follow the Buddha. But people say, I follow Ajahn Chah technique and tradition, or I follow some other Ajahn. People love to do this. Why do they do this? It's because they form an attachment to an idea, and that becomes something they sort of belong to or take ownership of. So even an idea, a thought, an idea, a principle, you can attach to. So it can be a physical thing, it can be an idea, It can be a feeling. Nowadays a lot of people talk about feelings, and they say, what you say makes me feel bad, so it must be wrong. Or what you say makes me feel good, it's right. And we take ownership of our feelings, and then that becomes sort of something that determines what is right and wrong, maybe. So, you know, you could come out one day and say, I really like ice cream, it makes me feel good. You know, okay, but then someone else who doesn't like ice cream, they find it cold or something, they go, I don't like ice cream, I don't like you. So you get ice cream, differences of opinion over ice cream because it makes you feel different. We do this all the time. We divide people up according to how they look, what they say, what they like, what they don't like. We form divisions all the time, more and more. And there's more and more things in our society to divide over. It gets more complicated. So, you know, you can see in society, sometimes people just look at another person and they say, oh, look at the car they drive. Oh, I can't go with that person. Their car is not good enough. Or where they live, or their school that they went to, or their job, or all these kind of little, tiny little superficial differences we suddenly divide up between people, who's in, who's out, who's right, who's wrong. So it causes a lot of suffering in life. Competing, comparing. But when you look at it with the eyes of Dhamma, this is all what we call conventional reality. The Buddha's word for it is a samuti banyati. And in Thai, it's interesting, the word samut or samuti in Thai means imagination. So really all these conflicts and divisions between people are imaginary. Because we just create them, don't we, in our mind? You know, say a country, we say this country is Malaysia or Thailand or any other country, but that's just human beings imagining it to be a place with a name. And it's useful. I'm not saying there's no use to this. It's useful to have these things, but we have to be careful because we become so tightly attached that then we argue and fight over all these things, and they're just imagination. So the Buddha said meditation is one thing, the kind of key that can help unlock this for you. You can do it partly by studying and learning and thinking about things, and that's important as well. I'm not saying that's not important, but when you meditate and you start to turn your attention inwards, you get back more and more to what is the true nature of things. So say when you look at a body, your own body, when your mind is calm, mindful, peaceful, you start to explore your own body, what do you find? You find that your body is a collection of natural elements. In the Buddhist time we said earth, air, fire and water. Modern science, physics, biology, well, we have lots of chemical names and properties, you know, all the chemical compounds and elements in the human body. These days we describe it in a very scientific way, which is useful as well, but if you break it right down, reduce it right down, it's just the solid part, the earth element, the liquid part, the water element, there's temperature, hot and cold, the fire element, and then there's air and gases, the air element. That's it, isn't it? My body, your body, we may look different, we have a different name and different background, personality, okay, but in essence we're just four elements. So say you're doing some breathing meditation. Yesterday we did a mindfulness of breathing meditation day. You're doing the breath. This is one reflection you bring up. You're just breathing in, breathing out, and you bring your mind to observe your breath. You might bring up the question, who owns this breath? When I say owns it, I mean who owns the air of the world? You can't really call anybody the owner of the air of the world. So you breathe in, this is kind of just nature, isn't it? You're breathing in, but as soon as it's in you, you say, my lungs, my breath, it's me, Then we take ownership because it's come into the body. But then you breathe out again, the bad air, the carbon dioxide you don't need anymore, you breathe that out. And again, it goes back to the world. We only really notice breath in, breath out when there's something abnormal, unusual. So like maybe someone's got bad breath, so, bad breath, so go and brush your teeth, then it won't smell. But nobody really owns the breath, the air of the world, do they? It's just a natural element, just like water, just like earth. But it's our mind that takes ownership of these things and gets caught up more in the superficial appearance. But the essence is we're just air, earth, fire, water. Someone once told me the air we're breathing contains tiny little particles from pretty much everyone who's lived in the world. Because human beings are constantly being born, dying, their bodies break down, and there's little particles from the air of other people breathing in and out, and from their skin, and from the bodies of others. And they're just floating around. They're so tiny you can't really see them. They're microparticles. You couldn't tell they're there. But whatever person you can think of in history, you've probably breathed in a little bit of them before. So whatever, Chinese emperor or movie star or whoever you want to think of in the world, or just your friend who lives in another country, doesn't matter. We're breathing in a little bit of everyone. This is interesting because the Buddha did say, didn't he? He said, do you realize everyone you meet, at some time you've been related to them in your past lives? There's this kind of circulation of beings in the world. And he said there's nowhere in the world that somebody hasn't died. People are born and dying through the generations. Because sometimes there was once a man who said, I'm searching for a place where no one's died. And the Buddha said, you're not going to find that place. There's been so many people born and dying over so many generations and eons. There isn't such a place. So when we say this is my place, my home, that's a superficial label, and on one level it's correct, but on another level it's not correct. It's not the truth. We don't own the air, the water, the earth. This is all part of nature. So then us as a human being, we're just kind of borrowing elements. We don't like to admit that because we like to feel we own, we're in control. And our goal as humans usually get as much money and power to own lots of things and have a lot of wealth. But actually we're not, even with all the money in the world, we can't own anything because our life is temporary. We're born, we get old, we die. And even, the food you eat, the air you breathe, you don't really own that. It's just more like a rental than an actual ownership. So at best you could say you're renting this body or this place in the world. You're just a little dot on the globe. You're kind of renting your spot. And you don't have that long either. So it's another reflection. With all this changing reality that we're involved with, we have to be careful, mindful that we're not here forever. And things remind us of that every day. Every day there's an earthquake, or a gas pipeline explodes, or someone rang up this morning, their cousin just died. We have an artery, can't remember the name. The artery from the heart goes down your leg. It's a big important one. If it's broken, aorta. If it's broken, you die. The blood goes away. He died from that. 41 years old, not that old. So it's always a shock when someone dies young unexpectedly. We don't know how long we've got, and every day there is news that somebody has died somewhere. So that makes us clear, I'm not here for very long. I don't really own this body. I only kind of borrow it. Perhaps I should do more to train this mind to know, to understand the way things are, to free my mind from suffering. That should really be our primary purpose as human beings, because everything else is uncertain, unreliable. Maybe you start off when you're young and there's one set of conditions in your country, and then things, after 10, 20, 30 years, everything's changed, doesn't it? Things change over time. The world is not fixed, it's always changing. Even our own body is not fixed, it's always changing, aging. Even our mind is pretty much a process of different moments of consciousness arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing. But it's possible for us as human beings to be aware of that, to understand that through awareness. And this is where meditation comes in. Getting to know the true nature of a human body and mind, the way they are, that they are impermanent, subject to change. But there is a way to know that, to understand that, if we train ourselves. So we call this the highest merit, training the mind in bhavana, meditation. And although everybody finds it difficult sometimes, challenging, working with your own mind, because your own mind is full of stubbornness, full of moods and different ideas and thoughts. We all think too much and we all worry too much. It's worth doing. While you're here as a human being, you've come in contact with the Buddhist teachings. This is your great good fortune. Many people never get to hear what the Buddha said. They don't know who the Buddha was. But you do. And that's your good fortune. You're lucky. So I would encourage you to make use of that opportunity. When you have the opportunity to make merit, offering dana, listen to the Dhamma, keep the precepts, meditate when you can. This will all help to educate your mind, help you to grow as a human being. And of course, the more you do for yourself in this way, the more your mind opens, it becomes brighter, happier, more peaceful. You can also use that to help others. The greatest kind of dana, the Buddha said, is Dhamma dana, sharing the Dhamma with others. So most of the time we're sharing somebody else's Dhamma with others, which is okay. We print books and we share teachings and we take people to hear Dhamma talks. That's good. But the greatest Dhamma is if you can understand the Dhamma yourself and then pass on that understanding to your kids, your friends, your fellow human beings. That's the greatest gift of Dhamma. Sometimes we don't realize how we can help someone else in the Dhamma, because we think, oh, I can't tell anyone about the Dhamma. You need to be a monk sitting on the high seat giving a talk. That's giving Dhamma. And that is one kind of giving Dhamma. But quite often the most effective, useful Dhamma is just in a very simple situation. Someone is about to make a mistake and do something that will cause them suffering or cause someone else suffering. And you warn them, you say, don't do that, or think about what you're doing, maybe it's not the right thing to do. You try and help them see where they could do it better or differently. Or your friend is angry and you say, oh, just let it go so they can be free from their anger, or just forgive them. Or someone is panicking or unhappy about something and you give them some kindness, help them to sit down, relax, calm down in a situation when they're panicking. All of that you would call giving the gift of Dhamma as well. Dhamma can be given in many forms. Forms of teachings, advice, emotional support, reminders, all kinds of things. So maybe you have to think about that, because the Buddha said this is the most useful thing for human beings to give each other, Dhamma. As monks we learn this, we always, because you learn a lot of Pali and you learn chanting, sometimes when you start in the monastery, you're learning new chanting, and your mind says, oh, why do we have to learn so much chanting? There's a lot to learn. You don't learn it, but later on, as you practice it, you also start to pick up why you do this. It gives you a chance to memorize not just the Pali, but also the explanations, the translations. And then there'll be situations where it can help you in daily life. So I remember when I was a young monk, I used to look after Ajahn Chah. And sometimes you always try to look after Ajahn Chah. You used to want to do a really good job, make sure he's properly looked after, everything's clean, he's got his medicine, he's cared for in the proper way. But sometimes you'd make mistakes, or someone else would make a mistake. Somebody would drop something, or they'd make a mess, or something. And one of the monks, when that happens, he'd always start chanting one of these little chants we do, and he'd just say, Sabbe Sankhara Anicca. Sometimes we'd have to hold a urine bottle for Ajahn Chah because he's getting old. And then one monk, he'd drop or spill it, and he'd spill some urine. And some monks would be going, why did you do that? Silly monk, careless monk. But this monk would always come and go, Sabbe Sankhara Anicca. Lighten up a bit. Because that's what it is. It's just, your hand is shaking, or you make a mistake and you drop something. Okay, these things happen. Life is impermanent. That's what Sabbe Sankhara Anicca means. Everything changes. Everything is impermanent. Sometimes we need that kind of Dhamma. So if you've learned some chanting, or you've read the suttas a bit, then you've got these things in your mind. And then when the moment comes, you just bring it up, and it helps you to relax. Just accept them. Some things don't happen. So I've always used that. Since that time, I saw how effective it was. I thought, I can use this. So I was telling them the other day, we're in the airport, and we're going, I can't remember, going to Adelaide from Melbourne. We fly there sometimes. And the guy came in to the boarding gate, and he started shouting at the staff, the plane's late, you're not getting me to where I want to go, I bought my ticket, you're not giving me value for money, blah, 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 blah. And he was just shouting, being very rude, aggressive and unreasonable. And the lady behind the counter, I'm sure she was a Buddhist, because she's so calm, so compassionate, she's just listening, yes, yes, yes. And then she said, please show me your ticket. Oh, actually, you're in the wrong place. You should be at gate number 25 down there. And this guy goes, "Arr!" and sort of storms off. He was entirely wrong himself, but he was trying to blame this poor lady behind the counter. He really shouted at her, very nasty. And he went away. And I said to the other monk, I said, oh, Sabbe Sankhara Anicca. Actually, everyone in the gate area, the boarding area, they're so impressed with the lady, they all clapped her. They gave her a round of applause for being so cool under fire. It's like, she's been attacked. But you can use this, things get delayed. Everything is anicca, sabbe sankhara anicca. Something breaks, sabbe sankhara anicca. Things are not always predictable, are they? I know sometimes things go wrong and there's serious consequences, so I'm not trying to be flippant here or make light of something that might be important. I'm just saying when things change, unpredictable, you don't get what you want, it's useful to have little reflections that just remind you of the truth, isn't it? Oh, everything is impermanent. Ajahn Chah would say, not sure, it's not sure. How you feel, not sure. What other people are like, not sure. You go to work, your boss smiles at you. Oh, that's nice, good. And then you go in the next day, he ignores you, not sure. Day after that, he scolds you, not sure. And the day after that, back to smiling again. Oh, not sure. Life is like that, isn't it? People change, their moods. the world around us changes, the weather changes, the traffic changes. Last night we drove back from the retreat expecting, they said, oh Ajahn, you got to go now, there's going to be traffic, it's going to take hours to get back. No traffic at all, not sure. Sabbe sankhara anicca. The other night we came back, we finished the day's talk, going to come in here, and no key. Sabbe sankhara anicca. You have to wait for Diana to bring the key. That's life, isn't it? Things change, things are unpredictable. Unfortunately, sometimes tragically, like earthquakes, unpredictable. But it's actually just pointing out the truth, isn't it? The world is an unpredictable place. So when we're deluded with this sense of self, we think we own everything, control everything, then we're actually setting ourselves up to suffer, aren't we? Sometimes, when we meditate, we're practicing this letting go. It's because when you hold on too tightly, you suffer. I'm not saying don't hold on to anything. We use things all the time, but don't hold on so tightly you start to suffer. It's like, say, a mobile phone or this microphone. Like, this microphone is very useful, but it'd be silly if I held it all day long. Like, I start eating my food and I'm still holding the microphone. That wouldn't be very nice. Or if I held it for the next 10 hours, by tonight my hand would be so painful. But I can use it now, temporarily, and when I've finished I put it down. So letting go is like that. Of course we have to hold on to things, pick things up, use things, but when the time is right, you also put them down again. But some people don't understand, they just cling on. So they cling and cling and cling until their hand hurts or until something hurts, suffering. Whereas like kids, if you're a parent, you have kids, you spend so much time out of love, looking after them, feeding them, caring for them, that you start to hold on tighter and tighter. Then when your kids get older, what you're supposed to do is actually release that grip a little bit, because they're adults. Some parents don't understand, they're just still holding on tight. They be too tight for too long. And their 30-year-old son, 40-year-old daughter, they've still got mum and dad saying, maybe. I'm not accusing anyone of anything, I'm just saying it's can be like this, doesn't it? Parents hold on so tightly, they don't yet know when to let go. They haven't learnt from the magpies in our monastery. You know what the magpies do when their kids get big? They push them out of the nest. And if you ever see that moment, it's quite rare to see it, but if you do, that baby magpie has never flown before. It just sits in the nest all day going, rah, 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 rah. Mum and dad running back and forth, feeding it all day long, getting really tired. Then when they estimate it's big enough to do everything for itself, mum and dad come back, and this time first of all they just sit there, no food, and baby's going, rah, 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 rah. No food. Then baby's kind of, what, no food? Then next thing, dad goes, boom, and pushes baby out of the nest. It kind of feels like, uh-oh. But it's also beautiful, because immediately that baby will fly. And it's not like the parents don't care. The baby starts to fly, and it can fly perfectly from day one. I don't know how they do this. They fly perfectly, and mum and dad come in next to it and fly together. After that, they go out feeding, and mum and dad stay with it. It's not they've left it, ignore it. They're still with it, but they don't feed it in the nest anymore. That's letting go, isn't it? It doesn't mean not caring. It just means you still do something, but maybe you just adjust according to the age of the person or the conditions. Sometimes you have to adjust, isn't it? You have to step back a bit maybe, not hold so tightly. Many things are like that. If it's the eagles, we have eagles as well. What does the eagle do? The eagles are so big and powerful, mum and dad probably couldn't push it out of the nest, so they do a different style. They collect stuff and fill the nest up. They have these huge nests, and they maybe have just one baby sitting in the nest. And they go away and they get sticks and rocks and mud and this and that, and they keep putting it in the nest, and baby is like, they're kind of filling my cot up with all this stuff. Baby starts rising up on all this stuff until the nest is completely full. Baby can't even stay in the nest, they just fill it up until baby has to fly off. Another very smart, natural way of letting go. Otherwise, baby's just going to stay in the nest all the time waiting for mum and dad to feed it, and that's not going to be smart. Many things are like that in life. You let go, not by just completely neglecting or not caring, but you adjust and you see what's needed, what's required and what's not required, and you adjust. So the Buddha gives us this way of looking after our mind, learning how to reflect on things, to understand what we really own, which is not much at all, but how to navigate the world using the Dhamma, using truth. Understand things are impermanent. Things are not really self. You can't hold on to them as self all the time. If you can understand this, your mind starts to relax and be more at peace. So anyway, I've talked quite a lot this morning, giving you a few examples of merit making, offering dana, keeping precepts, meditating, reflecting on Dhamma. So I'll offer this to you as a gift for Chengmeng, and in a little while we'll be offering Sangha dana, I think, and we can dedicate all the merits to your departed loved ones.